Imagine paying $80 or even $170 for what you thought would be a beautiful window view, then sitting down and finding nothing but a solid plastic wall. That exact nightmare is now at the center of a proposed federal class action lawsuit against United Airlines. You click the little square on the seat map, board the plane, and reach your row, only to realize there's no view and no sunlight. For many travelers, it feels like paying a premium fee for a feature that isn't really there. A judge recently refused to dismiss the case, allowing passengers to continue challenging how these windowless seats are advertised and sold. Airlines frequently argue that a window seat simply refers to the seat's position next to the fuselage, rather than promising an actual view. To a lawyer, that logic might make sense, but to a consumer, it can feel like booking an oceanfront hotel room only to discover the beach is a block away. The distinction between a blocked view and a physically missing window is now part of the legal debate. So how do airlines sell a window seat without a window? And how do you catch one before your card is charged? That missing window is often a technical necessity rather than a design flaw. Those blank wall sections usually contain air conditioning ducts, electrical wiring, or structural components. Airplane manufacturers simply can't shift a window a few inches just to give your specific row a better view. Seats, however, are a completely different story. They slide easily along floor track, giving airlines full control over the cabin layout. One carrier might opt for extra legroom, while another squeezes as many rows as possible onto the exact same aircraft model. Because window placement stays permanently fixed while seat rows shift based on profitability, you can easily wind up next to a solid piece of the fuselage. This explains why you might get a perfect view on one airline but end up with no window on another, even though the aircraft model is identical. The exact location varies depending on the aircraft and cabin configuration. Sometimes you even find these seats inside premium extra legroom rows, because from an engineering standpoint, the layout makes sense. In August 2025, passengers filed proposed class action lawsuits against United and Delta, challenging how both airlines labeled and disclosed certain windowless rows. In the United case, plaintiff Aviva Kopakin said she paid between $45.99 and $169.99 to select window seats on 3 United flights. Co-plaintiff Mark Brenman described a similar windowless seat experience.
Paid for a window seat.
United pushed to dismiss the case, arguing that window seat is just an industry term for the outer seat in a row to distinguish it from middle and aisle options, rather than a guarantee of an outside view. However, on July 6, 2026, U.S. District Judge James Donato denied United's request to dismiss the breach of contract claims. Judge found that the breach of contract allegations were legally sufficient to proceed at this early stage. To be clear, this doesn't mean United has been found liable. The proposed class has not yet been certified, and the court hasn't decided whether any damages are owed. To any traveler, this passenger logic makes perfect sense. When you see the word window across your ticket, your boarding pass, and the paid seat map, you naturally expect a view. Beyond just taking photos, looking outside helps manage flight anxiety, curbs motion sickness, or keeps your children occupied during a long-haul flight. This expectation collides directly with airline pricing strategies. Airlines often argue these fees cover bundled perks like extra legroom or forward cabin placement instead of just the window itself. For instance, a news report published in July 2026 highlighted a United Boeing 737-900 flight from Chicago to Newark, scheduled for September. During booking, seat 11A was clearly labeled no window. Yet the upgrade still cost $80, the same price as comparable extra legroom seats in rows with windows. While seat fees fluctuate based on route and demand, the example suggests that the price may be tied to the broader extra legroom category rather than the view alone. United has since started adding clearer no-window labels during the booking process. While this shows airlines can easily track these dead zones before boarding, the legal battle will hinge on how transparently that information was shared when you originally handed over your money. Could your next seat in column A be one of them? The quick 2-minute check coming up can catch most of these traps before the airline charges your card. Even if you manage to choose a seat with a properly aligned window, the layout can still change before departure. An aircraft swap is a routine operational decision for airlines, but it can completely alter what you actually get for your purchase. These swaps might appear inside a generic itinerary update email, Or sometimes they just happen quietly behind the scenes without any major schedule change notification at all. The tricky part is that seat 18A might have a clear view on one Boeing 737 configuration, but align with a solid panel on another version of the exact same plane. Automated reservation systems usually just move you into another seat in column A and consider it an equivalent swap. Your seat assignment letter stays the same, but the window itself is suddenly gone. Relying solely on your original booking configuration isn't a guarantee that your view will stay intact on travel day. A quick 2-minute screening can catch most windowless seats before an airline processes your credit card payment. The core checklist comes down to 4 basic steps. First, identify the exact aircraft type. Relying on a generic tag like Boeing 737 or Airbus A321 isn't enough. Look for the specific submodel, such as a 737-900 or A321neo, because airlines frequently operate multiple interior configurations for the same plane model. Second, read every single disclosure attached to the seat map. Clicking directly on your seat icon usually reveals hidden notes like no window, limited view, or restricted recline that require you to scroll past the initial price tag. Third, cross-check a scaled diagram or photo. Sites like Aerolopa give you a clearer picture of how the rows line up with the windows, allowing you to quickly spot blank walls or wing obstructions without a deep technical investigation. Finally, save a screenshot of your choice. Documenting your aircraft type, seat assignment, and fee receipt right at booking provides essential proof if any details shift later. If the aircraft changes down the road, simply repeat the same quick check. If you spot a layout shift, you can contact the airline through their app before travel day, or speak with the gate agent before boarding to ask about open seats. This verification process won't guarantee you a perfect view, but it confirms the physical piece of glass actually exists. Already paid for the seat and discovered the problem too late? Don't panic. There's a highly effective way to ask for your money back. Refund eligibility depends on whether the airline failed to provide the ancillary service documented in your booking, not whether the scenery happened to disappoint you. A wing obstruction or cloudy weather will normally be treated differently from an undisclosed seat limitation or an aircraft swap that changes the service you selected. The U.S. Department of Transportation, DOT, classifies advanced seat selection as an ancillary service, which is sold separately from your core transportation ticket. Under DOT rules, if your paid ancillary service becomes unavailable through no fault of your own, your fee must be refunded. A last-minute equipment substitution that prevents the airline from providing the documented seat selection service can fall within this consumer protection framework. However, upfront disclosure changes your legal math. If the booking screen clearly labeled the seat no window before payment, your refund argument becomes much weaker. If no warning appeared or the configuration changed after booking, your case for a refund becomes significantly stronger. When the problem affects only an individual passenger, an automatic refund may not be triggered. You'll need to report the issue so the airline can verify the claim. Your most effective approach involves contacting customer service with the evidence you documented and keeping your complaint strictly transactional. I paid an additional fee for a window seat, but the assigned seat had no usable window, and this wasn't disclosed during booking. I'm requesting a refund of the seat selection fee. This specific phrasing cuts through the noise, keeping your dispute focused entirely on the unfulfilled optional service instead of your core airfare. Airlines frequently offer you frequent flyer miles or future travel vouchers instead of cash. These alternatives come with restrictions, like expiration dates or limited redemption windows, so holding out for a monetary refund is usually your wisest move. When a refund is legally owed under DOT rules, it must generally be returned in cash or the original form of payment unless you affirmatively choose a voucher or other compensation. If your initial claim gets denied, a factual, secondary escalation remains your best path forward. Emotional threats or lengthy rants about a ruined vacation only distract from the core contractual issues. Treat a chargeback as a last resort after the airline's refund process has been exhausted, and provide clear evidence of the specific fee and the service you say was not delivered. Success ultimately comes down to your speed, brevity, and clear proof comparing what you were promised against what you actually received. A window seat can still be totally worth choosing when the location offers value beyond the scenery, whether that means a better place to rest, extra legroom, or a preferred position in the cabin. Just remember to check the aircraft, read the seat disclosures, and save proof before you pay. Missing windows are only one surprise hidden inside airline cabin maps. Other expensive preferred seats may put you against a non-reclining bulkhead beside a restroom line or directly across from a brightly lit galley. Review those blind spots before your next upgrade, because airline seat maps rarely label the worst spots for you. Drop a comment below with the worst window seat you've ever paid for. I'm reading every one.